The scene opens with chaos. The crew has witnessed this alien life form. Their decision is clear: leave, follow emergency protocol, and preserve life. Rhea responds with resistance. Her lines are clear and unambiguous.
Fuck the protocol, this is what we've been waiting.
Protocol exists for a reason. We need to get out of here before the thing spreads. Protect the mission.
The mission? This is the mission. Do you guys remember why we signed up? All of us. Everything we sacrificed.
This is not panic, desperation, or breakdown. Rhea speaks with coherent conviction, anchoring her words in shared sacrifice and visionary rhetoric. She invokes the mission as something holy, redemptive, something that justifies not just risk, but death. This framing makes her the ideological spine of the crew, not Brian. While others cite rules, Rhea appeals to meaning. She is not obeying institutional commands. She is redefining them in real time. That makes her an ideologue in the most dangerous sense, one who believes her actions are not just necessary, but morally required. But within the film's larger structure, this scene is the key to unlocking the truth. She frames the mission not as science, but as humanity's salvation, a sacred opportunity to build a new Eden. These lines transform her from curious scientist to zealot, someone who has internalized the mission to the point where safety and conscience are irrelevant. What's chilling is not just that she believes, it's that she's calm. Her logic is structured, controlled, weaponized. In this moment, she doesn't just endorse risk, she demands it because she believes the future demands sacrifice. This is the Rhea we do not initially see, the Rhea she herself has forgotten. In the film, Rhea projects blame onto Brian. She accuses him of withholding knowledge, manipulating her, and forcing her to comply. But Brian, in this confrontation with Rhea, repeats the very same ideological words she used earlier.
Rhea, listen to me. You and I, we have a purpose. Okay? We sacrificed our lives on Earth to come out here for a reason. This is about our species. The big picture. Okay, what we have uncovered here, proof of alien intelligence somewhere out there. There is technology to mold planets. This could change the fate of our entire existence. Our priority has to be about the preservation of our mission.
At first glance, this seems like validation of Rhea's accusation that Brian represents oppressive authority. But context reveals the truth. Brian is not real. He is a hallucination, a projection of the alien's influence. Brian is Rhea. This entire time, Rhea was always alone. This film reveals its deepest horror not in gore or alien threat, but in this moment. The ideologue forgets they led the march into evil. Rhea, at the height of her belief, persuades others to stay in danger. Later, haunted by guilt and fragmented memory, she projects that coercion onto Brian, a man who reflects her past more than his own. Brian actually died running away cowardly from the alien being. So the bigger question is, why did Rhea subconsciously use Brian? Did she hate him? Did she secretly dislike his standoffish nature? It didn't seem like Rhea and Brian had any personal connection or friendship. So that begs the question. This is the core twist. Rhea didn't lose herself. She found a version of herself she could not live with, and buried it. The mission was not something done to her. The mission was her. And Brian, the shadow of that belief, was all that remained to confront her with the truth. The more we think about it, the Dead Space video game from 2008 and the Ash movie feel extremely similar, especially Kendra and Rhea. Let's break this down. In science fiction horror, villains are rarely monsters in the traditional sense. More often, they are believers. Two such figures are Rhea from Ash, 2025, and Kendra Daniels from Dead Space, 2008. Though one exists in an art house psychological thriller and the other in a survival horror video game, both characters embody a strikingly similar archetype: the rational ideologue who prioritizes a larger mission over individual lives. They are not chaotic or sadistic. They are intelligent, composed, and convinced they are serving something greater.
This whole planet is one big experiment. The marker, this divine relic, made by man. They reverse engineered it a couple of hundred years ago from the real marker, a true alien artifact recovered on Earth. They dug it up, studied it, and they made it their own. Then they brought it to Aegis 7 and activated it. And you've seen the result. The stuff of nightmares. They sealed the system, and no one would have been the wiser. But then the CEC blunders in and starts tearing the planet apart. The experiment was still alive. Kine was right about the hive mind. The marker would contain it, but that doesn't matter now, does it? I have the marker, and this entire system can go to hell. For what it's worth, you did a great job, Isaac. See you around. Or maybe not.
At their core, both Rhea and Kendra are not driven by fear. They are driven by belief. In Ash, Rhea insists on staying on the planet despite escalating danger. When others want to follow protocol and evacuate, she reframes the situation. This is the mission. She invokes sacrifice, species survival, and planetary salvation. Her language elevates the mission from research to destiny. She sees the terraforming technology as humanity's future, something worth risking everything for. Similarly, in Dead Space, Kendra Daniels is not a random traitor. She is an EarthGov operative whose mission is to retrieve the marker, a device capable of reshaping worlds. She lies to the crew, manipulates Isaac, and ultimately justifies her actions as necessary for the preservation of humanity. Neither woman sees herself as evil. Both see themselves as custodians of humanity's future. Both women also attempt to control the narrative around them. Rhea attempts to hold the crew in place when they want to flee. Later, she is revealed to have participated in suppressing information and maintaining order for the mission's sake. Kendra manipulates Isaac throughout the game. She withholds information, feigns alliance, and ultimately reveals that her loyalty was always to EarthGov. Neither character operates through chaos. They operate through calculated containment. They are not emotional villains. They are administrative ones. Despite their similarities, one key difference separates them. Kendra Daniels knows exactly what she is doing. She does not lose memory. She does not collapse under guilt. When she reveals her true allegiance, she stands by it. She remains composed, even when confronted. Rhea, on the other hand, fragments. She struggles to reconcile the version of herself that believed in the mission with the version that now sees its cost. If Kendra represents ideology fully intact, Rhea represents ideology that has collapsed under its own weight. In this sense, Kendra is the stable ideologue. Would they be friends? Rhea and Kendra Daniels would likely recognize something in each other immediately, not warmth, but alignment. They are both mission-first thinkers. Both understand sacrifice in abstract terms. Both are capable of compartmentalizing fear if the bigger picture demands it. In a shared universe, they wouldn't bond over emotion. They'd bond over clarity. Kendra would appreciate Rhea's intelligence and willingness to push past protocol. Rhea would respect Kendra's decisiveness and lack of hesitation. They would speak the same language: species survival, technological advancement, necessary risk. Their friendship wouldn't be affectionate, it would be strategic. Two women who understand that progress is rarely clean. Why I truly believe Ash exists in the same universe and time frame as Dead Space. They feel strikingly compatible, not merely in aesthetic tone, but in foundational worldview. Both narratives are built upon the same existential premise. Earth is dying, and humanity has no choice but to expand into space under desperate, morally compromised circumstances. This shared foundation makes it plausible, at least thematically, that the two stories could exist within the same universe. The similarities extend beyond surface-level sci-fi tropes. They lie in ideology, political structure, psychological consequence, and technological hubris. What connects them most is not monsters or terraforming, but the same bleak question. What happens when survival becomes more important than morality? In Dead Space, Earth has suffered catastrophic overpopulation, resource depletion, and environmental collapse. Humanity survives through planet-cracking operations, harvesting entire celestial bodies for materials. Space expansion is no longer exploration. It is industrial extraction driven by necessity. EarthGov operates in a climate of scarcity and fear. In Ash, terraforming technology promises an escape from a poisoned biosphere. The mission is framed as a species-level solution, the ability to mold new planets where humanity can survive without suffocating under its own environmental decay. In both universes, Earth is not a symbol of hope. It is a burden. Humanity has consumed its home and now seeks salvation among the stars. This shared backdrop alone makes the worlds feel aligned. They are born from the same desperation. Another strong parallel lies in the central technological hope. In Dead Space, the marker represents infinite energy and evolutionary transcendence. It is positioned as humanity's answer to extinction, a solution powerful enough to justify secrecy and sacrifice. In Ash, terraforming technology is framed as the creation of a new world. It is described not merely as a scientific breakthrough, but as the key to species survival. In both narratives, technology is treated as salvation, and both reveal that salvation is unstable, corrosive, and morally compromising. Neither story glorifies scientific advancement. Instead, they show how technological optimism becomes ideological extremism. The very tools meant to save humanity expose its willingness to destroy itself. Both Ash and Dead Space share a quiet but noticeable Japanese industrial influence in their design. The USG Ishimura carries a Japanese name, kanji branding, and an industrial segmented structure that feels more like a massive offshore drilling platform than a sleek Western starship. Its aesthetic is utilitarian, mechanical, and spiritually heavy, very much in line with Japanese sci-fi traditions that blend industry with existential dread. Similarly, Ash uses Japanese-coded elements in subtle ways. Anime-style medical instruction graphics, a robotic medical assistant that speaks Japanese, and clean, minimal interface design. The technology feels precise, ritualistic, and clinical rather than flashy. In both cases, space is not romanticized, it is industrialized. Machinery dominates. Human emotion feels small against cold systems. That shared design philosophy is what makes them feel spiritually aligned. If Isaac Clarke met Rhea Ortiz, he would absolutely dislike her, just as much as he did Kendra Daniels. Sure, Kendra is worse than her. Rhea does have her cracks of guilt in her belief system, but it is Rhea's moral ambiguity that would upset Isaac. The moral tension between Isaac and Rhea would be immediate and explosive. Both characters survive catastrophic space incidents tied to secretive institutions and world-altering technology. Both endure psychological breakdown. Both are shaped by a dying Earth that justifies dangerous expansion into space. Yet despite these similarities, their moral compasses point in fundamentally opposite directions. Isaac survives by resisting ideological corruption. From everything established about Rhea's zealotry and Isaac's lived trauma under EarthGov and the marker crisis, it is highly plausible that Isaac would initially view Rhea not as a victim, but as complicit, possibly even evil. In Dead Space, Isaac witnesses firsthand what happens when institutions elevate abstract survival over individual life. EarthGov hides the marker program. Unitology weaponizes belief. Entire crews are sacrificed for research. By the time Isaac survives the Ishimura, he has learned one brutal lesson. When someone says, "This is bigger than us," people die. Rhea's language about sacrifice, destiny, terraforming, species preservation would sound to Isaac exactly like the rhetoric that destroyed the Ishimura. Would Isaac see Rhea as evil? Initially, yes. Not cartoonishly evil, not monstrous, but morally dangerous. Isaac has encountered that personality type before. Kendra Daniels embodied it. EarthGov administrators embodied it. Marker researchers embodied it. To Isaac, Rhea would not look like a victim of the system. She would look like someone who helped build it. Even if Rhea later fractures under guilt, Isaac would likely focus on her earlier conviction. He would see the version of her that said, "This is the mission." And to Isaac, that line is a red flag. Theory: Rhea Ortiz as an EarthGov agent. Ash were situated within the same universe as Dead Space. One compelling reinterpretation emerges. Rhea Ortiz is not merely a scientist caught in catastrophe. She is an EarthGov operative embedded within a classified terraforming initiative. This theory does not rely on explicit canon confirmation. Rather, it arises from behavioral patterns, ideological language, structural secrecy, and technological framing that align almost perfectly with how EarthGov functions within the Dead Space universe. The question is not whether Rhea knew everything. The question is whether she was positioned to protect something larger than the crew. EarthGov does not send overt soldiers. It sends intelligent, mission-aligned operatives who can blend into scientific environments while preserving institutional objectives. Rhea fits this profile disturbingly well. In the Dead Space universe, EarthGov responds by weaponizing secrecy and technological retrieval missions. Operatives are embedded within civilian crews to secure artifacts and preserve strategic advantage. Rhea's mission to investigate terraforming technology would represent precisely the type of operation EarthGov would covertly oversee. The fact that she later fractures does not weaken the theory, it strengthens it. Operatives placed in proximity to reality-altering technology frequently destabilize under its influence. Rhea Ortiz were an EarthGov agent. She would not be a villain in the traditional sense. She would be exactly what EarthGov produces: a rational believer placed at the edge of extinction, tasked with securing humanity's future, and ultimately undone by the moral cost of that assignment.